We will start the regular press conference by Minister Kamikawa. Just one thing I would like to share with you. It hurts my heart to hear the reports that there still are many casualties of innocent citizens in Myanmar due to the battle. Even 3 years have passed since the coup in February 2021. Since the coup, there has been an increase in the number of people who need humanitarian assistance year after year, and according to a report issued by the UN last year, the number has reached 18.6 million. Japan has continued to extend a variety of humanitarian assistance since immediately after the war, and Japan has decided to expand anew a total of $37 million of humanitarian assistance. To be specific, Japan will extend wide range of assistance through international organizations such as UNICEF, WFP, UNHCR, UN Women, AHA Center, and through NGOs in areas like healthcare services, medical services, nutrition improvement for pregnant women and infants, water and sanitation infrastructure, access to education, distribution of food and pharmaceuticals, and support for women who are victims of human trafficking. The government of Japan will stay side by side with the people of Myanmar under hardship through trying to understand in detail the needs they may have. Furthermore, amidst the deterioration of humanitarian situation on the ground, introduction of a conscription system was announced in February, and I'm seriously concerned about potential further confusion. Japan will continue to urge Myanmar military to work towards peaceful resolution in concrete terms. That's all. For those of you who have questions, please raise your hand and please proceed to the microphone and state your name and affiliation before you ask your questions. Okada-san, Sankei Shimbun. Hi, I'm Okada, Sankei Shimbun. TEPCO accident in Fukushima, the import restriction against the Japanese food import as of the end of January, import suspension and the submission of certification of inspection, China, Hong Kong, Korea, Taiwan, Russia, these jurisdictions do impose these restrictions. What are the activities that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is working on to make these restrictions removed? And with this discharge of untreated water, China and Russia have imposed import suspension. What will be the action that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs would take against this?
First of all, lifting the import restrictions on Japanese food products following the earthquake in 2011. This is the top priority policy for the government. Through bilateral negotiations and international conferences, we have been seizing every opportunity so that at each level we are lobbying for the lifting of the restrictions as early as possible. At the same time, we also leverage on the channels of our our ambassadors stationed in different countries. In collaboration with different relevant organizations and the government agencies, we are working on the ambassadors who are stationed in Japan. With regard to the second question, and that is about the Alps treated water release into the ocean. There are import restrictions on Japanese seafood products imposed by China and Russia. These actions are without any scientific evidence. It is a regret. So through bilateral negotiations and multilateral negotiations, we have been working for the immediate lifting of the restrictions without any scientific evidence. In last November, on the occasion of a meeting with the Prime Minister Wang Yi of China, I made an explanation about the Alps treated water and demanded requested the immediate elimination of restrictions. And with regard to the WTO, we seize on the opportunity of a participation in SPS committee so that we can also request China and Russia and to immediately lift any restrictions. Going forward, we are going to continue to give the explanation about the treated water to China and Russia and the results of the monitoring activities. They will be explained courteously and with transparency so that we can increase immediately eliminate the restrictions. Now, my question is about South China Sea and East China Sea. On the 6th, with regard to the collisions between the Philippines and China, you expressed a grave concern, and there is a growing activities in South China Sea. So I would like to ask for your take on this situation, and then also the Chinese buoys located in the East China Sea.
Well, let me try to respond to your question. The activities by China in the East China Sea, what is our current recognition? In East China Sea, Chinese government ships have repeatedly made incursions into our territorial waters since December 2008, and in 2013, PRC established the so-called ADIS in November of 2013, and furthermore, a unilateral attempt to develop resources by China. We have seen unilateral attempts to change the status quo have continued and intensified. It is greatly regrettable, and these activities are totally unacceptable for Japan. As far as Japan is concerned, Japan is determined to defend resolutely its territorial waters and territorial airspace, and we will assert whatever has to be asserted, and we will remain level-headed and resolute in its response. With regards to the buoy installed by China, last year in November, during the Japan-China Leaders Summit and during the Japan-China Foreign Ministers meeting, we have been demanding China to immediately remove the buoy through different channels, including high-level communication channel. It is very regrettable that the situation in the maritime area has not improved. As we speak, as far as Japan is concerned, we will use every opportunity to demand China to immediately remove these buoy. And Japan will continue to conduct patrol and surveillance as necessary, understand the situation on the ground, and conduct a study and analysis from different angles. Having said that, Japan believes the fact China is leaving the buoy unattended is a serious situation. So we will look at potential options with other relevant ministries and agencies while taking into account rights and obligation of countries in the maritime area, Japan's laws and regulations, and potential impact of buoy on ship traffic and Japan's fishing. And the options are removing and moving away the buoy or Japan setting buoys. These are the options, and we will make necessary and appropriate actions. Katsurada-san, Kyodo. Hi, I'm Katsurada Kyodo. Financial contribution to UNRWA. European Commission announced that planned assistance will be implemented, and Canada is reported to have decided the financial contribution. Although the study is being conducted, the humanitarian situation continues to deteriorate. What is the Japanese policy? And there are those concerned about the resumption of such financial contribution. What is the recognition as to the necessity of financial contribution to UNRWA?
The current situation in the Gaza Strip is desperate, and it is nothing but heartbreaking. it is a very severe condition they are facing. The most important and crucial issue is to provide assistance at the earliest possible date to each person in the Gaza Strip. And for that to be achieved, the government decided to provide emergency grant with the amount of 32 million US dollars. They are used for food supply by WFP and medical supply by WHO and sanitary goods to be supplied by UNICEF. By all means, we need to provide humanitarian assistance to women and children in the region. And not only the fund assistance, but also we have to put in place an environment that is conducive to the humanitarian activities. For that, the diplomatic efforts should be doubled. With regard to UNRWA, there is an issue with regard to the suspicious involvement by the staff. We are concerned about this fact. Not only in Gaza, but also in the West Bank and Jordan. In those countries, there are a large number of Palestinian refugees, and for them, UNRWA plays a crucial role for providing support to those refugees. UNRWA has to re-establish its own trust and deliver the responsibility as expected and by the international community. For that, governance should be reinforced. As for the resumption of fund contributions to UNRWA, we cannot make any prejudgment at the moment, but together with the United Nations, UNRWA, and other relevant countries and states, we are going to stay in close communication with them, and we are going to render support to the activities and investigations taken by the third-party bodies and the UN. Igarashi-san of NHK. This is Igarashi at NHK. I have a question about Osprey. In November, off Yakushima Island, there was the fall down of Osprey, and about 3 months, there was a suspension. How about the current status of the possible resumption? And there are some local governments expressed concern about the safety. How is his take on this?
Well, there was this crash accident of U.S. Forces Osprey back in November last year. And we are in the process of ascertaining what actually happened during the accident and safety measures. So we are in the process of ascertaining these issues. Against this backdrop, late yesterday afternoon, U.S. contacted us that they wanted to specifically coordinate with Japan the timeline for resumption of Osprey operation in Japan. Securing safety of flight is the utmost priority for Japan and the United States. It is a shared utmost priority, and we will continue to closely work with the United States as we have done in the past. Dong Ilbo. Thank you. Next month, the Prime Minister Kishida is slated to visit the United States. During the Japan-U.S. Leaders Summit, the trilateral cooperation amongst Japan, U.S., and ROK, will the strengthening of the trilateral cooperation be on the agenda? And this cooperation was agreed back in August 2023. And Leaders Summit between Japan and North Korea, is there any possibility that the President Biden and Ms. Prime Minister Kishida will discuss that during the summit meeting?
Japan seeks the rule of law-based free international order. And for this to be maintained, we believe that Japan, US, and Korea trilateral cooperation needs to be further enhanced. Under this recognition, as far as myself is concerned, in total 4 trilateral prime minister meetings since my assumption, including Rio de Janeiro meeting on February 22nd and the telephone conversations. At this point in time, I would like to refrain from talking all the details of the upcoming summit, but politics, security, national security, economy, and people to exchange on a broad scope of issues are going to be covered. It is important to continue the collaboration and cooperation between the three countries. We have to bring the summit meeting with the U.S. to a success, and I would like to provide necessary support as the foreign minister. Next question, please. Mainichi Shimbun, Murao-san. This is Murao of Mainichi Shimbun. The LDPs, the actions with regard and to deal with this political scandal. There are lots of issues to be discussed. For example, if a chief accountant is prosecuted, the person in charge or the MP in charge will be recommended and to leave the party. Whether this is going to be effective or not, but do you believe this kind of action will lead into regaining the trust from the voters? And the other issue is that with regard to the Osprey, the reason and the cause of the incident, and the countermeasures. Have you already been briefed by the U.S. military? And how's your take on the future possibility of the resumption of the operation of Osprey?
Let me respond to your first question. This the problem around political funding, I seriously feel the need to restore confidence by our people. During the meeting of the Politics Renewal Headquarters meeting, Prime Minister said this. We need to promote a reform where the lawmakers, it becomes a norm for lawmakers to take responsibility, and in order to restore confidence of the people, LDP itself has to change and transform itself. Domestic politics and diplomacy cannot be separated, and as I have repeatedly said since my appointment, I believe it is very important to conduct diplomacy with the support and understanding of the people, and I will continue to focus on that. Thank you. And for your question on Osprey, I mean, the thing I can say at this point is what I've already said to you earlier on. To resume Osprey operation in Japan, the U.S. has shown interest in having a coordination with Japan on the timeline to resume operation of Osprey in Japan, but let me refrain from talking about the details because of our relations with the United States at this juncture. With that, I would like to conclude the conference. Thank you very much.